Hey, before we dive in, can I ask for a small favor? I need your help. If you haven't yet clicked follow on this podcast, would you take a second right now to do it? It really helps others to find confident leadership in color. And honestly, well, it means the world to me. Or if you're listening on a platform where you can leave a comment or a rating, well, that truly makes a huge difference too. Thank you. Truly, that support, that quiet little click, it really matters. This is truly a learning curve for me, as you'll hear in today's conversation. Because asking for help might sound simple, but it hasn't always been easy. I'm Hanna, your leadership coach, and this podcast is your confidence boost in color. Let's go. You know, I have been thinking about how some of the smallest words we say can carry the heaviest meaning, like thank you, help, and sorry. They're short, simple, almost ordinary, but wow, they can be game changers. Each one of them opens up a door. Thank you invites for appreciation and connections, and help opens up for trust and vulnerability. And sorry, well, that one, it unlocks healing. But here's the thing, these words don't always come easy, do they? Especially when you are in a management role or when you have been a strong one for a long time. It can feel safer to power through, to keep the mask on and to say it's fine, even when it isn't. I've definitely been there. And if I'm honest, the hardest one for me has always been asking for help. It's rather funny because I love helping others. I genuinely do. But asking for it myself, well, that used to feel uncomfortable. Like I should already know, already manage, already cope. And when it comes to myself, the words that has been the toughest is actually sorry. Not because I didn't want to apologize, but because I'm saying sorry to myself meant facing moments I'd rather skip over. The times I pushed too hard, ignored what I needed, or expected more from myself than I ever would from anyone else. Saying sorry to others takes courage. Saying sorry to yourself, well, that takes honesty. It's the moment you meet yourself with compassion instead. What do you need to apologize for? That question still echoes in my mind. I remember sitting in that one-to-one conversation. The room was huge, probably 5 meters to the roof and at least 40 square meters big. But in that moment, it truly felt tiny, like everything had zoomed in. The air shifted, the door out suddenly was invisible. And the question, that was for me. Just moments before, I'd said, I think I need to apologize to myself. That insight had just landed, right there in the middle of our conversation. I didn't even know the person I was speaking to so very well. It wasn't a close friend or a colleague as such. I'd gone into that meeting because I needed help to sort things out in my mind. I knew something had to be changed. Staying where I was simply wasn't an option anymore. I wasn't well there. And if I wanted a different outcome, I couldn't keep doing the things the same way as I used to. Otherwise, I'd end up right back where I've been, on the sick leave again. Time slowed down. I sat in silence for what felt like ages, prized what I just had said, but also it made completely sense. I realized how often I pushed myself, said yes when I meant no, tried to hold to everything together for everyone else, believing that if I could just create calm around me, then I finally find calm within me. But it never worked that way. So when the question came, what do you need to apologize for? My answer was, I need to apologize for not keeping the promises I made to myself, for not allowing myself to say a clear no, and to stick to it. When I left that meeting, I felt lighter. Something had shifted. I've been honest with myself, really honest, and that gave me permission to move forward differently. To build a better structure around me, one that actually supported the promises I'd made to myself. And with that awareness came another realization. There was someone else that I needed to apologize to, a colleague. A few weeks later, I got the chance to have a private conversation with her. I said sorry, genuinely, for how my actions had affected her. I saw that now, and even if it was unintentionally. And even though my colleague didn't quite pick up the apology and left it there on the table between us, well, that's okay. That was her choice. What matters was that I had said it, that I had taken the responsibility for my part without expecting anything in return. Because forgiveness isn't something you can demand, it's something you can give. And walking away from that conversation, I remember feeling lighter. Not because everything was just fixed and perfect, but because I had chosen integrity over comfort. It was one of those quiet moments that reminds me that this is what real leadership looks like. Not the polished, confident version of me to show up on the outside, but the honest humankind that begins with a single, humble sorry. These two situations remind me that there are always several perspectives to take, that leadership and life really is about showing that I'm learning as I go, that I'm human, not the polished, perfect, confident version that might show up on the outside, but the honest humankind that begins with a single, humble sorry. And maybe that's what authentic leadership really is. Not getting it right all the time, but being willing to see, to listen, to own your part, to keep growing even when it's uncomfortable. During my coach training, my trainer once said something that has really stayed with me. When you find yourself in a conflict, there are 3 keys you can use to step out of it. Those keys are called thank you, I need help, and I'm sorry. Simple, right? Really powerful. I love that simplicity because the more I reflect on it, the more I realize that these 3 keys aren't just resolving conflicts. Well, they actually making that we are not going into a conflict. They are useful in almost any situations where you want to build trust, collaboration, and movement forward. And you're probably already using them without even noticing. Like when you thank a colleague for saying something brave in a meeting, or when you ask for help because you got stuck and need support to move something forward. Or when you say sorry for jumping to a conclusion too quickly. In a team setting, these are incredibly powerful keys to use every single day. Imagine bringing them into your daily stand-up. Why not take a minute to thank or acknowledge someone for something they have done since you last met, something that you truly value? Or when you go through your priorities, ask for help. Maybe invite someone to brainstorm with you or to check in along the way so you can get the result you're hoping for. And sometimes it's about owning up to things too, like saying, I was a bit too optimistic on this one. It took longer than I thought, and I should have asked for help sooner. Because of that, you're now facing a tighter deadline. And I'm sorry. Is there something I can do to help you? And there's actually research that backs this up. You might have heard about Google's Project Aristotle. Their deep dive into what makes the teams truly effective, what they found was that the most successful teams weren't the ones with the highest IQs, the most resources, or even the most experienced ones. They were the ones where people felt safe to speak up, to make mistakes, and show up as themselves. What researchers called psychological safety. And when you think about it, thank you, help, and I'm sorry are exactly the kinds of words that creates that safety. They build trust, invite honesty, and strengthen the connection. They remind us that leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating the conditions where others feel safe enough to contribute with theirs. By doing this, you're also showcasing good examples, highlighting how people are working in line with your values and making a real effort to strengthen the team. You're valuing collaboration, recognizing that no one can do everything themselves. You're showing that we go further together and that using each other's strengths isn't just kinder, it's also smarter and faster way forward. And perhaps most importantly, you're modeling what authentic leadership looks like. You're showing trust and being vulnerable. You're reminding everyone through your actions that leadership isn't about perfection, it's about connection. You're showing leadership. So before we wrap up today, I'd love to invite you to pause for a moment. Think about the last time you used these 3 words. Thank you, I need help, and I'm sorry. In what situations did they show up for you? Is there one that comes more naturally or one you tend to avoid? Or that feels a bit awkward to say? And then turn that reflection inward. When was the last time you said to yourself, thank you, I need help, or I'm sorry? Because that's where the really starts, from within. The way we speak to ourselves shapes how we show up for others. And when we practice these words inwardly, they begin to flow more freely outward too. So maybe this week you could choose one of them, whichever feels most needed right now, and notice how it shifts something in you or around you. And if this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear it too. And follow the podcast so you don't miss what's coming next. It really helps more people to find confident leadership in color. And it means truly the world to me. Thank you. Be confident. Be you.
Confidence starts inside of you.